Good day to all. Today we are going to see about the PLC, which means Programmable Logic Controller. The main purpose of that Programmable Logic Controller is for initially it is designed to replace the relay logic boards, which is a sequence of device actuations as well as the coordinate activities, which is accepts input from a series of switches, sends the output device the device or relays. Here it's the main thing is the input we will have switches and it will send to the output with the automatic manual. That is called PLC's programmable logic controller. The process which takes place in that automatically. The function of this control is we can have a on-off control, then sequential control, feedback control and motion control. The mechanical control example of this control device is cam, governor, etc. And pneumatic control, which is the example of compressed air, valves and etc. Then the electromechanical control. Here it is a switches and relays, timers, counters. From this electromechanical control, from the switches and timers controls, we will have some operations in that industries. If you want to on the switch from the office itself, we can on, then the site will operate like that, and we will have some operation, we will have some time, and the counter will also takes place. This is the electromechanical control signal. Then the electronics control, it is similar like electromechanical control except the use of electronic switches. Here it is the addition of that electronic switches also there. Then the computer control. The black diagram of the PLC is, see, it will have a CPU and a system. Here it's a program. This is the user ladder diagram, means it is one of the program in that PLC. Mainly PLC have 5 languages. One is ladder, and the second functional black and structural list. Likewise, we will have a 5 number of languages. But nowadays, mainly in that industry, they are using for ladder diagram program only. Here it says that use ladder diagram. Then the working memory registers. So it will have an input flag, then the output. Then we will give the input module. We will get the output from these circuits. The PLC configuration is to be likely this only. First of all, here it's the input circuit and CPU and memory, then output circuits. This will connected with the input relays and input utility relays. Input relays is nothing but it will go for counters. Depends upon that counter, the output relay will come. As well as in input utility relays, depend upon this input utility relays, the timers will work. After this timer, the data will storage like that. See, what is the device does a PLC interact with? First of all, it is interact with the input relays, which means the contacts. They are limited contact to the outside the world. They physically exist and receive signals from the switches, sensors, etc. Typically, they are not relays, but rather they are transistors. Internal utility relays, contacts. These do not receive the signals from the outside world, nor do they physically exist. They are simulated relays and are what enables PLC to eliminate external relays There are also some special relays that are dedicated to performing only one task. Some are always on while some are always off. Some are on only once during the power on and typically used for initializing the data was stored. According to that application, the PLC will used in that particular industry. See, it will have timers, output release, data storage. The timers, these also do not physically exist. They come in many varieties and increments. The most common type is on delay type and other included off delay type, and both retentive and non-retentive types is also there. Increments vary from 1 milliseconds to 1 seconds. We will deeply see about the timer and counter also. Here it is a output release, which means coils. They are connected to the outside world. You can see the output. They physically exist and send on-off signal to the solenoids, lights, etc. They can be transistors, relays, or triacs depending upon the model of chosen. Then this data storage. Typically, there are a register assigned to assembly store data. They are usually used as a temporary storage for math or data manipulation. They can also typically be used to store data when power is removed from the PLC. Upon power off, they will still have some contents as before power was removed. Very convenient and necessary, because if it is anything will moving on to this kit, PLC kit, if it is power on, it won't be get affected. These are all the switches in that PLCs. See, it is non-locking switches. This is normally open. And the SPDT means single pole double throw switch. See, this S means single P pole, single pole double throw switch, double throw. So there are a lot of switches is available. Here it is a single pole double throw switch, and you have single pole double throw means this P1 and P2 double throw, multiple throw, as well as this break before make. We will have a difference here: non-locking and locking. Normally open switches and normally closed switches, and here it's a single pole double throw switches. Here it's a DPST means double pole single throw switches. Double pole single throw switches. Here it's a break before make and a make before break. These are all the switches in that PLCs. See, through number of states, pole, the number of connecting moving parts, number of individual circuits. SPTT, as I said before, single pole double throw switch. This TPST means double pole single throw switch. You can see this one is a serial box, has a two 25-pin serial ports to switch form. This one is AB and this is a B. Here it's input, here it's output, is now. How this is switched to classified? Just simply the switches. The basic switches operated by a mechanical level. The types of switches are push button switches, slide switches, as well as thumb wheel switches, limit switches is also there, proximity switches, and photoelectric switches. These are all rating for voltage and current. See, if it is push button switch means if you want to on something, if you push, then it will on only if we are pressed there. If it is release our hand, then that will off. That is a push button switch. This is not like normal on off switches. This is a push button switch. So we have to push once, then the motor will start. If the hand will remove from that particular button, then this may be up. That is the push button switch. Then the slide switch, limit switch. Limit switch we can use for that particular limit. If we want to switch on some motor or bulb for a particular limit, we will use that limit switch. Likewise, proximity switch as well as the photoelectric switch. Thank you.